Hello everyone, welcome back to Amagate Radio Communications. And it's your girl, Anointed Excel here. And I'm so glad you are tuning in for another episode of our journey together, normalizing tech education from early childhood. You know, as I sit here today, I'm reflecting on where we are in this journey together. Since we started this podcast, I know some of you are feeling excited about the possibilities. Some are curious about what this means for your children, and honestly, some of you are scared. And that's exactly what we need to talk about today. Before we dive into today's conversation, I want you to take a moment with me. Just breathe. Whether you're a parent, a teacher, an uncle, an auntie, a big brother or sister, or someone who just cares about children, this conversation is for you. Because what we are discussing today, it's not just about technology, it's about love, fear, and the future we are creating for the children we care about. Let me take you back to last week's powerful conversation, because what we discovered, it shook a lot of us to our core. Week 2 was titled Universal Child Development Meets Digital Reality, and what global research reveals about kids and tech readiness. I repeat, our last week's topic was titled Universal Child Development Meets Digital Reality, and what global research reveals about kids and tech readiness. And honestly, if you missed it, go back and listen, because it will change how you see children forever. Started with this uncomfortable truth, which states that babies today are swiping before they are speaking. Toddlers in rural Kenya singing along to phonics on solar tablets. To 4-year-olds in Tokyo training toy robots. Children are meeting technology even before they learn how to write their names. But here's what it's different. While children are naturally interacting with technology, we adults, parents, teachers, even education leaders are still hesitant, still asking, are they really ready for this? We broke down what digital readiness actually means at different ages, and here is a recap of it. Ages from 0 to 2, the age of wonder, where they learn cause and effects and also recognizing patterns. The age 3 to 4, this is where structured curiosity begins, where they begin to understand sequence, order, and basic algorithm thinking. We have age 5 to 6, here abstract thinking kicks in. They are ready for problem solving, collaboration, real computational play. The research was eye-opening. A 2023 study from the Early STEM Research Journal showed that age is actually a predictor for algorithm thinking levels in early childhood. Not secondary school, not university, but childhood. We looked at global examples that build our mind. Like, for instance, in Finland, 97% of early childhood teachers uses digital game to teach logic. In Singapore, children learn about AI at the age of 4 through storytelling. And in Rwanda, kids in remote areas master solar powered tablet content faster than their instructors. Can you imagine that? But here's what really hits home. Dr. Michel Resnick from MIT said, children are not only ready for technology, they are wired for it. And the question is, are we ready to guide them? That quote right there was everything. And then we identified what is still holding us back. Parental fear, teachers' confidence gaps, and cultural resistance. But the most powerful insight was this. Children in developing regions are not less capable. They are just less resourced. That's where we left off. Children are ready, the science is clear. The question became, what is stopping us from meeting them at where they are? And that brings us to today's conversation. Today we are addressing the elephant in the room. The thing that has been sitting heavy on many of your hearts since we started this conversation. The global parental paradox. Here's what I mean. All over the world, from Lagos to London, from Nairobi to New York, and from Mumbai to New Zealand, parents want the same thing. They want their children to be successful, happy, and prepared for the future. But many of these same loving, dedicated parents are afraid of these very tools that will build that success. This isn't about bad parenting or good parents or good parenting. This isn't about education levels or economic status. This is about fundamental disconnect between parental love and digital reality. Let me tell you about Mama Kemi. I met her at a parent teachers conference last month. A beautiful woman, works as a nurse, loves her children fiercely, and her daughter Temi, 8-year-old, brilliant, bright, curious child who was always asking questions about how things work. Mama Kemi pulled me aside and said, "Auntie Anointed, this computer teaching you what to do for Temi, I'm worried though. What if she becomes addicted? What if she stops playing with other children? What if she becomes too smart and doesn't respect me anymore?" And this broke my heart. Not because her concerns weren't valid, they were absolutely valid, but because in that moment I realized we are not just fighting against ignorance and stubbornness, we are fighting against fear born from love. That same week, I found out that Temi was already on TikTok and she had already started watching YouTube videos about slime making and DIY crafts, do-it-yourself crafts, completely unsupervised. The technology wasn't the problem, the lack of guidance was. Now let's look at what data tells us, because numbers don't lie and they don't judge. According to a 2024 study by the Joan Ganz Coney Center, 73% of parents worldwide express anxiety about their children's technology use, but only 31% feel equipped to guide that use effectively. Think about that gap. Nearly 3 out of 4 parents are worried, but only 1 in 3 feels capable of helping. The World Economic Forum 2023 Future of Job Report shows us something even more startling. By 2027, 50% of all workers will need reskilling due to technology adoption. But here is the kicker. Children who start developing digital literacy before the age of 10 are 85% more likely to adapt to these changes successfully. UNICEF State of the World Children's 2023 report also revealed that over 2.2 billion children globally lack access to quality digital learning opportunities, not because technology doesn't exist, but because adults in their lives haven't prioritized it. But let me share you some research that might surprise you. Dr. Sandra Calvert at Georgetown University has been studying children's technology use for over 2 decades. Her research shows that children who engage with technological educations in a structured, guided environment actually show that they have better attention span, they have improved social skills through collaborative digital projects, enhanced creativity through digital storytelling and design tools, and also a stronger problem-solving abilities through coding and computational thinking. The key phrase is structured and guided environment. The problem isn't the technology, it is the guidance. Now let's talk about where this fear comes from, because understanding the root helps us address the fruit. But before we go into that, let's take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
Harrogate, founded in 2008 out of a desire to build transgenerational structures for organizations, institutions, and nations. We have worked with large businesses, international development organizations, and public sector ministries and agencies. Harrogate, our uniqueness is that we do not just work for you, we work with you. For example, we do not leave you to the task after sourcing talent that will help the new hire settle into robust leadership leadership development programs. We are technical experts in advising and supporting institutions on strategy and leadership, artificial intelligence, strategic human resource management, public sector reform, finance, audit and tax, FAT, and strategic communications. We do all this and more at our desire to transform nations through institutions and organizations. For further inquiries, email contact@thearmorgate.org or call +234 810 999 6866 +234 807 957 4151 and +161 0504 6026 www.thearmorgate.org. Armorgate, building to endure and transforming nations through institutions and organizations.
Welcome back, everyone. You are still listening to Armorgate Radio Communications, and we are talking about tech in early childhood. And before we went on a break, we wanted to discuss where the fear comes from. Now let's talk about where the fear comes from, because understanding the root helps us address the fruit. First, we have the unknown. Many parents today grew up in a world where technology was optional. You could be successful without knowing how to use a computer. You could navigate life without the internet. Today's parents are the last generation for whom this was true. When you don't understand something, it feels dangerous. When you can't control something, it feels scary. And when your child knows more about something than you do, it feels like you are losing your role as the guide and protector. The second one is media manipulation. Let's be honest, the media has done a terrible job of representing children's technology use. Every headline is about screen addiction, cyberbullying, social media depression, and these are real issues, but they represent misuse of technology, not technology itself. So take note of that. It is like saying we shouldn't teach our children to read because some books contain inappropriate content. The solution isn't illiteracy, it is teaching discernment. The third one is cultural disconnect. In many cultures, there's a belief that childhood should be protected from adult realities, and technology feels like it's rushing children into adulthood. But here's what we need to understand: technology isn't adult versus child anymore. It is simply the environment our children are growing up in. A child learning to code isn't becoming an adult, they are becoming a literate citizen of their own generation. Let me get real with you for a moment, because behind all these fears and statistics and research, there are real people with real emotions making real decisions about real children. I want to tell you a conversation I had with my own mom last year. My mom is an incredible woman, raised 4 children, and has a very successful career as a quantity surveyor. She's one of the strongest people I know. But when I started talking about teaching coding to 5 years old, she said something that stopped me cold. Anointed, what if you are wrong? What if all this technology ruins their innocence? What if they lose the ability to just be children? And I had to sit with that, because she wasn't questioning my expertise or my research. She was questioning whether love looks like protection or preparation. That night, I called my auntie who lives outside the country. She has 2 young children, and she was dealing with the same internal struggle. I feel guilty every time I hand my son a tablet, she told me, but I also feel guilty when I don't, because I know other kids are learning things mine isn't. This is the emotional reality of parental paradox. It is not about logic or research or even what is best for the children. It is about the fear that making the wrong choice will damage the people you love most in the world. But here is what I've learned through my research, through working with a lot of families, through watching children thrive when they are given the right tools and guidance. Love sometimes is letting go of fear. I repeat, love sometimes is letting go of fear. Let me tell you about David and his father, Mr. Ibrahim. David was a 7-year-old boy, fascinated by how phone worked, constantly asking questions about app and games. Mr. Ibrahim, a traditional man, kept saying, "You are too young, focus on your book." But David's questions didn't stop. So one day, instead of saying no, Mr. Ibrahim said, "Show me what you want to know." They spent the next hour together, David explaining what he already figured out on his own. Mr. Ibrahim asking questions, and both of them were learning. 6 months later, David built his first simple app, a digital storybook showing their family. Mr. Ibrahim told me, "I thought I was protecting him for technology. I was actually protecting him from his own potential." This paradox isn't unique to any culture or country. Let me take you around the world and show you how this plays out differently but consistently everywhere. In the United States, the conversation centers around screen time limits and digital wellness. Parents are bombarded with conflicting advice, and some experts saying no screen before age 2. Others saying technology is essential for 21st century learning. The result? Confusion and guilt. In the United Kingdom, there is a fascinating class divide. Wealthy families are enrolling their children in expensive coding camps while simultaneously limiting their home screen time. Working class families often feel like they can't afford the good technology education, so they avoid it altogether. In South Korea, where technology adoption is among the highest in the world, there is a cultural backlash where parents who work in tech industry are often the most restrictive about their children's technology use at home. They see the potential for addiction and want their children to develop other skills first. In Nigeria and across Africa, the conversation is complicated by infrastructure and economic realities. Parents want their children to have technological skills and technological literacy, but they are worried about their affordability, internet and safety, and even cultural values. They also fear their children becoming too Western through technology exposure. In rural communities worldwide, the pattern is similar. Parents recognize that technology skills are necessary for their children's future economic opportunities, but they are afraid of losing cultural identity and community connections. But here's what is fascinating. When you look at children in all these contexts, their adaptability and enthusiasm for learning technology is remarkably consistent. The barriers aren't coming from the children, they are coming from the adults. Let me share some brain science that might change how you think about this. Dr. Patricia Kuhl at University of Washington has spent decades studying how children's brain develops. Her research shows that ages between 0 to 7, children's brain are in what they call the critical period, when they can absorb new languages, skills, and ways of thinking with incredible efficiency. But here's the crucial part. The critical period applies to digital literacy, just like it applies to verbal languages. Children who are exposed to computational thinking, the logic pattern behind technology, during this critical period develop a neural pathway that make advanced problem solving much easier in life. Dr. Kuhl's study shows that children who engage with educational technology during critical period demonstrate enhanced pattern recognition, improved logical reasoning, better spatial awareness, and stronger mathematical intuition. And this is important only when technology exposure is interactive, social, and guided by caring adults. This brings us to another research by Dr. Brenda at Temple University. Her work focuses on what she calls joint media engagement, where parents and children explore technology together. Her findings are remarkable. When parents engage educational technology alongside their children, rather than just handing them device, children show 65% of better retention of learning content, stronger emotion regulation during challenging tasks, more creative problem-solving approach, and better ability to transfer digital skills to real-world situations. The key insight here is that technology isn't the enemy of human connection. It is a bridge to deeper connection when used intentionally. Alright, let's get practical, because all this research in the world doesn't help if you don't know what to do when you get home today. Now, I've broken them down into steps and I would like you to follow me closely. The first step we have is replace fear with curiosity. Instead of asking, "What if this harms my child?" ask, How can I guide my child's natural curiosity about technology?" I want you to try something this week. Sit down with your child while they are using any device, phone, tablet, computer, or whatever. Don't judge them, don't correct them, just observe. Ask them to show you what they are doing. Ask questions like, "How did you learn to do that? What do you like about this app? What do you like about this game? Can you teach me how to do what you just did?" You'll be amazed at what you discover about your child's thinking and learning process. Now, the second step we have is create structure, not barriers. The goal isn't to eliminate screen time, it is to make it purposeful. And here is a framework I recommend. First, we have 20% of entertainment, which includes fun, games, videos, and social connection. Then we have 60% of educational, things like coding app, digital art tools, research projects, and so on. Then finally, we have 20% of creation, building something new, expressing ideas digitally. This isn't about strict time limits, it's about intentional balance. Now, we have step 3, which is learn together. You do not need to become a programmer to guide your child's tech education. You just need to become a co-learner. And here are some simple ways you can start. Try a coding app designed for children like Scratch, Codable, or Thinker. Watch educational YouTube channels together like Crash Course Kids, SciShow Kids, and many more. Play puzzle games that develop logical thinking. Explore digital art or music creation tools. The goal isn't for you to become the expert, it is for you to become the guide. Step 4, we have connect to the real life. Always help your child see how digital skills connect to the physical world. If they are learning to code, show them how traffic lights are programmed. If they are creating digital art, visit a museum and talk about how artists use technology today. Step 5, we have building community. Find other parents who are on this journey. Join online groups, attend local workshops, connect with your child's school about technology education programs. You are not meant to do this alone. As we come towards the end of today's conversation, I want to share something special with you. My grandfather raised me for a few years. I stayed with him for a few years, and he was born in the 1930s or 1920s. Lived through Nigeria's independence and saw the world change in ways he could never imagine. When I was young, he used to say, "Anointed, the world is moving too fast. Hold on to what you know." But as I got older, I realized he was teaching me something deeper. He wasn't telling me to resist change. He was telling me to stay grounded while I adapted to it. That's what we need to do for our children. We need to give them roots and wings. Roots in values, relationship, and characters. Wings to soar in whatever world they inherit. The technology isn't going to slow down for us to get comfortable. Artificial intelligence isn't going to pause while we figure out how to explain it to our children. The digital economy isn't going to wait for us to understand cryptocurrency or virtual reality or whatever comes next. But our children, they are ready, they are curious, they are capable of learning and growing and becoming amazing contributors to this world. If we give them the tools and the guidance they need. The question isn't whether we are ready. The question is whether we love them enough to get them ready. I think about Mama Kemi and her daughter Temi. 6 months after our conversation and all that happened, Temi enrolled in a coding club for kids. Not because Mama Kemi suddenly became a tech expert, but because she decided her love was bigger than her fear. Last month, Temi showed her mom an app she created, a simple game where you help a nurse like her mom take care of patients. Mama Kemi cried, not because she was sad, but because she saw her daughter combining technology with her values, using digital tools to express love and service. And this is possible when we move past this paradox. Before I let you go today, I want to leave you with 3 specific things you can do this week. First, have one honest conversation with a child in your life about technology. Not to lecture, not to limit, but to understand. Ask them what they are curious about. Listen to their answers. You might be surprised by what you learn. Secondly, identify one fear you have about children and technology. Write it down and then ask yourself, is this fear protecting my child or is it limiting them? Be honest with yourself. If it is limiting them, decide on one small step to take that can help you address that fear. Thirdly, find one resource, a book, a website, a local program, a parent group that can help you learn more about guiding children's technology education. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start where you are and with what you have. Remember, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to be willing to walk alongside your child as they navigate this digital world. The future belongs to children who are prepared for it, and children who are prepared for it are the ones whose adults choose preparation over protection, growth over comfort, and possibility over fear. Thank you for staying with me through this deep and sometimes uncomfortable conversation. I know it wasn't easy. I know some of us are feeling challenged and maybe even a little overwhelmed. That's okay. Growth often begins with discomfort. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with another parent, teacher, a caregiver who needs to hear it. These conversations are too important to keep it to ourselves. Next week, we'll be diving into something crucial that affects every classroom around the world. We'll be talking about the global teacher transformation crisis and why educators' preparation needs an urgent upgrade. We'll explore how we can better support and empower teachers to confidently guide children in this digital age. I'll share insights on how we can bridge the gap and equip teachers with confidence and tools they deserve. Follow Amogate Radio Communications on all social media platforms for updates, resources, community support. Send me your questions, send your stories, send your struggles, because this isn't just a podcast, it's a movement, and movement happens when we support each other. Remember, if we don't teach them tech early, the world will leave them behind. Your child's future is too important to let fear decide. I am Anointed Odusumboye, and this has been Amogate Radio Communications. Until next week, keep asking questions, keep learning, and keep believing in the incredible potentials of the children in your life. Take care, and I will see you next week.